All right, folks, we've got a major update when it comes to what is going on with Imagineering, and it may even give us a clue as into who just could be the next CEO of the Walt Disney Company. We're going to go right now to WDW Radio briefly. Hopefully we're okay doing this. Fair use. We just want to snip it. Folks, we're not going to give you much, just a little clip it, and then go listen to the full interview if you'd like to. But this is an interview with Chief Creative Officer Bruce Vaughn of WDI. Here's what he had to say. We'll play it right now.
You know, it doesn't mean it's juvenile. It just means it evokes that wonder that you have as a child about the world.
And I love the fact that you've spoken about the power of reverse mentoring. Yeah. It's not just sort of a leader teaching somebody new that comes in, but their willingness to sort of learn.
That is super important. We have the great benefit, again, 73 years, and one of the first things I did when I came back, and actually Justin Moore had asked me to do this, I probably would have done it anyway, but he said, let's get, a lot of people retired when I was away who were and it was like, let's bring them back under some sort of advisory thing and make sure they mentor, not to do the projects. We need the next generations of Imagineers to do the projects, because that's how you cut your teeth and that's how you learn.
Pause there. That's all we need. Josh D'Amaro, maybe the next CEO of the Walt Disney Company, currently the head of Disney Parks, told Bruce Vaughn when he came into Imagineering to take over, bring back the legendary Imagineers. We need them to mentor our new people. Now, we just did a segment on how Tiana's Bayou Adventure is busted more than any other ride, and we took a look at the top 10 rides that are broken. They're almost all brand new. None of the legendary stuff, none of the stuff these legends made. Folks, take a look at this. From Boardwalk Times, Disney Experiences chairman Josh D'Amaro believes Bruce Vaughn had the right mix of creative expertise, business acumen, and staff respect to head Walt Disney Imagineering as it embarked on its expansion era. And what did they do as one of the main steps? By the way, this is coming to you from the Wall Street Journal. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what did they do? They brought in the people that had been fired, let go, sent on their way, sunsetted, and said, come on back, please. We need you. Now, we'll talk about what all this means in just a minute in terms of like who's going to be the next CEO and why this is coming out of the Wall Street Journal. This is the article, by the way. There's a lot to this that's not just the facts, please, right? This is not just Dragnet. But Ron, when we're hearing that they brought back the people who know what they're doing, they didn't let them take back over again. That's not what this is about. But it seems like they almost babysat the current crop of Imagineers. Your thoughts on it?
It's because the current crop of Imagineers need to be babysat. The fact is, Imagineers now are not what they once were. When Walt started Imagineering, a lot of those people came from the movie industry, and not the side of it that most people think of, but the props departments, the set builders, the creative team who made the magic that actors, are lucky enough to fall into. Because, if you know anything about the movie business, it doesn't take that much to read some lines and be a little bit natural. I know actors make all the money and it's all about RDJ or whoever else the actor is out there. But honestly, the movie magic was all about the behind the scenes stuff. And of course, now a lot of that's done with CGI. And so you don't even have real set builders anymore. But those original Imagineers were so incredibly creative, and they brought that magic from Hollywood sound stages to the theme parks in a way that nobody else could. And then they did pass that knowledge on to the next generation of Imagineers, which probably saw its way through the 80s and the 90s and maybe the early 2000s. And then Imagineering became more of a department. As a matter of fact, there was that time when Eisner first came in, Imagineering thought it was gone. They thought, they literally thought he's going to get rid of us. But he didn't. Eisner came in and he said, hey, I love what you guys do and blah, 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 whatever. Well, now the current crop, the only thing that they have is shape language.
Well, okay, so let's talk about what happened, though.
Do you think it's Chapek, like when Chapek stepped in? Do you think
no? Here's what happened. So Imagineering was put essentially, in terms of hiring, under the direction, I believe, of Carmen Smith. Now, Carmen Smith is a major advocate of DEI, and they began hiring not on meritorious ability. but rather on immutable differences, aka the way you were born or your bedroom preferences. And they began emptying out the legends. They didn't want them around anymore. Folks, think about this. They invited Tony Baxter in to be a part of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And when he came in and said, and folks, I know I'll label it rumor and speculation for a minute, but boy, I don't want to label this one out because I'm just ready to say what happened. Tony Baxter comes in and says, wait a minute, there are problems here. We can't do this, this. And suddenly Tony Baxter wasn't a part of the project anymore, right? Tony Baxter, legendary Imagineer, like the greatest currently available Imagineer. And so what happened, MJ and Ron, and you all know this, is that because the Imagineers largely were sunsetted, where did they go? They, who the last real project they got to work on was Pandora, and you can see how that turned out, they went to Universal.
They definitely went to Universal. I have a friend who, in fact, that exact thing happened to her. She was an Imagineer. She's with Imagineering, and she left with a better offer to go to Universal. She's with neither team, by the way, now. Moved on to bigger and better things. But let me know that was she was not alone. She was part of a large movement. Most of what you see in Epic Universe is created by former Disney Imagineers, and that is hands down. It's kind of known within the industry. And Universal Creative is what they're doing right now. It really is. They're taking a lesson from what Imagineering used to be. And I really do hope, because the future of Walt Disney World and the parks in general and kind of the company depends on Imagineering getting that creativity back. I would love for the competition of Epic Universe and Universal, that is like that quality is going way up. I would love for that to drive back up the quality of Disney, because one of the things that I feel like they've lost is the care for the parks, and really focusing in on the guest experience and all guests, not this little group of guests over here or this little group of guests over here, but it's something that appeals to everybody in mass. And they have kind of forgotten what that was like.
Now, let's step behind the curtain for a minute. It's easy for us to look at just what's being laid out in front of us, but I want to go into the meta. I want to look at the 4-day chess that I believe is being played right now. Here's what we're talking about, folks. This out of Boardwalk Times. Kim Masters, journalist and author of The Keys to the Kingdom, predicts Josh D'Amaro and Dana Walden will be named co-CEOs of the Walt Disney Company. This is being shared over here on Puck, P-U-C-K, with Matthew Bellany. Folks, it's behind a paywall. We won't show it to you, but you can go find it if you'd like to. And the reason it's so interesting to us is we're wondering about the timing of all this. Is this article out of the Wall Street Journal, remember, it's the Wall Street Journal. Why would the Wall Street Journal care about Imagineers and bringing back legendary? Like the Wall Street Journal, really?
Right.
Maybe because this is part of an effort from Wall Street. And we've talked about this before. Wall Street likes Josh D'Amaro. Bob Iger and the DEI crew, they love Dana Walden, right? The political activists, they love Dana Walden. The business people, they love Josh D'Amaro. Is this Wall Street starting that campaign to say Josh D'Amaro is the man? We want him. We don't want co-CEOs. I don't know, folks. I don't know. But it's worth paying attention to. And partly because of this. Former Imagineer for the Walt Disney Company. One of those that you would suspect might come back to be a mentor. Jim Shull. Says the Wall Street Journal article states that Disney Imagineers, quote, used a process known internally as progressive seduction to get approval for projects at a smaller scale, unquote. Jim Shull says, I never saw fraud of this sort of occur in my over 30 years as an Imagineer. Now, I've liked this because I think it's really fascinating. What Jim Shull is saying is that the stuff inside this Wall Street Journal article that's propping up Josh D'Amaro, and hey, if I have to give my druthers, I'm going with Josh D'Amaro over Dana Walden, right? But Jim Shull is saying, hey, I've been an Imagineer. I've been at the top of this thing. I don't know what the heck they're talking about in this article. I've never seen this stuff. And that's what makes me wonder, is this a Bruce Vaughn, Josh D'Amaro piece of fluff intended to bolster his chances to get the full-blown CEO position? Panel, what say you on this one? I know this is a lot to take in, but man, when you've got former Imagineers coming out and saying, I don't know what they're talking about in this Wall Street Journal piece that all this is coming out of. Like, and that's not to say that Jim Shull has anything against Josh D'Amaro or Bruce Vaughn, but they're like, we don't know what this is. We worked there a long time, 30 years, and I don't know what any of this is. Panel, your thoughts?
I don't know. It's not. I don't know that it's necessarily Josh, directly, but it's very possible that there are definitely people within the company who would prefer to see him. I think anybody that works in the parks would prefer Josh over Dana because, they see Josh. I met Josh.
What's your take on Josh, having met him?
He was nice. It was really like, I was scared, honestly, at the time, because I was on the clock. I was a cast member, and another cast member. Is
this your time as Gaston? Because I'm pretty sure that you can't be afraid if you're Gaston.
No. I was a lifeguard, and it was my last time. It was my last day as a lifeguard, because this was the 20
Hotel Typhoon Lagoon, Blizzard Beach. Where are you doing this?
This was at the Riviera Resort. And so it was my last day because I was going back to my role as a server. It was an interim period because of the coming back to work.
All right, Josh comes by in a Speedo, says, "Hey."
He was eating at the bar. Whatever the bar is at. Bar. Anyway, Bar Riva, is that what it's? Is it Riviera? Anyway, so he's eating at the bar, and another. We're all getting off the clock. All of the lifeguards are getting ready to go back to the break room, right? And one of the lifeguards goes, "Hey guys, it's Josh D'Amaro over here. Come say hi." And we're like, what's he doing? And but we all went over because we couldn't not at that point in time.
Right. It's a little awkward if you're like, I'm good. I don't want to talk to the future CEO right now.
But he was really nice. He had a little conversation with everybody was there, and then said, "How you guys liking your jobs? Everything good? Blah blah blah." And he was very, very nice and very cordial to us. And the main lifeguard had just disrupted this conversation with whoever he was with there, but it's pretty well known that all of the executives, when they come to Disney right now, they get the presidential suite at the Riviera because it's the newest one. So, but he was like I said, he was nice. Looks exactly the way he looks in pictures, like literally no different. And
I'm glad to hear that. If he had a third nostril, I'd really worry about.
I look at it this way. I think he could be a good CEO if he's not on Bob Iger's leash. And there's a lot of questioning on which decisions were Josh's and which decisions weren't, that he got pushed back and had to go back and forth between Iger and then finally got an approval that we see in the public and is not. There's a lot of debate about that internally. So I really don't know, but I would hope that I would hope that there'd be a separation from Iger, and that he would, because I think I got the feeling that Josh does actually care about the parks.
Yeah.
So I really, really hope that is the case if he becomes the CEO. But I also want somebody that cares about the company, the reputation among the public. The reputation among Disney has taken a nosedive, and for good reason. And if they don't work on their internal stuff to get all that back, they don't work on Imagineering, the creative side of entertainment. They say, hey, let's really truly get away from politics and all of that stuff, and we're just going to create really good stories. Get rid of the quote unquote stories matter group, actually, not just not just on the website, but we're going to go create things for all people. Yes. And that's what has to happen, because otherwise I think that, I know it's the overused word wokeness, but man, they have fallen prey or victim or whatever to that whole ideology over the last few years. And it's so downhill, the guest experience.
MJ, the reason that I presented this story the way that I have is because I want people to know there's more to that Wall Street Journal article than just hey, I got an idea for a story. Why don't we interview Bruce Vaughn about bringing on, mentor Imagineers? I think that there's more at play here. I think that there's an effort behind the scenes from Wall Street to say Josh D'Amaro is our guy. And I think that there's stuff happening now that suggests the Bob Igerites, however many of those there are, they really want Dana Walden, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get her in there. And I think the pushback now is beginning to formulate against that from the investor class. MJ, I'll give you the final word on all of it.
No, I agree with Ron. He took the words out of my mouth. I agree with him 100%. We are like Goofy right now. We have high hopes that Josh D'Amaro will do his job and that he cares and that they will let him do what he needs to do and make the right decisions. He's an active person. I mean, you don't see the other lady anywhere. So me and Ron are just seeing eye to eye.
She's probably over on ABC News figuring out how to confuse the public some more. You know,
I will say all of these new mazes that you see right here throughout the park. I mean, it's amazing. Like this is the main attraction, right? At all 4 Disney parks right now are these just massive amounts of these.
They should make it
cool
a game,
maze
right?
area.
When you walk in, you get a little map, and here's the game. Try to find, walk through the maze and see what you can find. And at the end of your game, you turn it in and you get a free prize.
Yeah, screw finding that purple wall. There's plenty of brown walls all around you.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.